there's two parts to a group exercise. Number one, the discussion phase. Number two, the presentation phase. Okay, so in the discussion phase, that's where you're going to be given 30, maybe 45 minutes basically to discuss within the group that you're in, to discuss the brief, right? Discuss the problem, discuss what you've been asked to do and come up with a solution or get the answer or whatever it is that they're asking you to do. So you're going to be collaborating, talking to each other in the team. Oh, what's your opinion? What's your opinion? Basically asking each other and then all coming to a consensus. Okay, this is what we've chosen as a group. This is what we're going to do, right? So that's the first one, the discussion. Then the second phase is the presentation. Because usually at the end of this discussion, you have to present your outcome or your decision or your findings to a panel of experts. That's what it's often called. It's the assessors, okay? So let me go over that one more time. You have a discussion phase where you're discussing with the other members of the group about the problem or the question or whatever it is, working out what solution you want to go with. Maybe 20 minutes, maybe 30, maybe 45, just depends on the length of the group exercise and how much material you have to go through. And then once you've done that discussion phase, you're going to have to do a presentation phase, which is where you present your findings to the assessor. You present the decision, say, this is the decision we've gone with. This is why we didn't choose this one, right? And so you'd allocate that around the group. So, for example, you talk about this, you talk about this, you talk about this, something like that. It can either be just like a normal presentation where just everyone just takes in their turns. Okay, you speak for a minute, you speak for a minute, and then you speak for a minute. Or it can be slides. So in some of these group exercises, you make slides and then present those slides in the presentation to the assessors. And then finally, after that presentation, there's like a bit of bonus section. They can sometimes ask you a Q&A, so they'll start asking you some questions about your group exercise. So it could be questions about the task itself. So why did you choose this thing? Or what about this? What made you do this? But there are also questions about the process you went through. So how as a group did you come to a conclusion? How as a group did you deal with conflicting opinions? That sort of thing. Okay, so that's the structure of a group exercise. Now, why am I bringing this all up? So today I have a community on school called the Apprenticeship Insider Program, and basically I'm hosting mock group exercises. So I hosted my first mock group exercise this morning, okay, and it was 45 minutes for the discussion period. But you could finish that as early as, like, if you finish after 10 minutes, you could finish after 10 minutes, right? But it's 45 minutes discussion, and then it's a 5-minute presentation on what you chose, right? What decision you chose as a group. Now, this group I was working with this morning in this mock group exercise, they did the discussion and then they were like, okay, yeah, we've made our decision, happy, let's finish the discussion early. They had forgotten about the presentation part of it, right? So then I said, okay, right, 5-minute presentation starts now. And then they didn't know what was going on because they'd forgotten about the 5-minute presentation because I just mentioned it at the start. Okay, so the lesson to learn from this is you need to prepare for the presentation during the discussion phase. Okay, that's the lesson to be learned. If you have a discussion phase of 45 minutes, it wants to be something like 30 minutes of, as a group, going through the options, deciding the options, which one do we want to do, what decision do we want to do. But then the last 15 minutes needs to be about making the presentation. So it needs to be allocating the different roles. Okay, you talk about option 1, you talk about option 2, you talk about option 3, I'll talk about option 4. And making the slides, that sort of thing. That is what needs to happen with that end of the discussion phase. You have to make sure your presentation is ready, because by the time you finish the discussion, you're going to go straight into the presentation. You need to be ready, you need to be organized. And now this is an opportunity, okay? This is an opportunity for you to do really well in this group exercise, because if you say near the end of the discussion period, so say it's been 30 minutes, you've come to a decision. If you come in and you say something like, right, I think we should start preparing for the presentation, let's allocate roles, how should we do that? That's going to straight away give you points for leadership, for being organized, managing time, that sort of thing, because you initiated the step of saying, okay, let's prepare for the presentation, let's allocate roles, okay? So that's a lesson to be learned from this group exercise, is make sure you allocate roles for the presentation in plenty of time. Make sure you have your presentation ready for the group exercise. This is the exact same with a case study. So a case study is sort of similar to a group exercise. You're given like 30, 45 minutes to read through some material, do a task, come up with a decision, and then you have to present it back to an assessor. Again, if it's a 30-minute like preparation period, you want to maybe spend 15, 20 minutes like sorting out what you're doing and working that out. You then want the last 10 minutes to be working on your presentation, what you're going to say. So I'm going to say this, then I'm going to say this, then I'm going to say this. This will take like 5 minutes or whatever, right? That's what you want to be doing. Okay, so that is the lesson from the group exercise today. Is for group exercise and case studies, make sure during the discussion or preparation time you're planning for that presentation and you don't forget about it. Okay, so now just a quick plug if you're interested. I'm going to be doing a group exercise tomorrow, another one on Sunday. It's going to be at 10 a.m. So if you're interested in that, it's going to be exclusive for people inside this community. If you're interested in that, then click on the first link in the description. That will take you, and then you can sign up. Places will be going very fast, so I recommend you do that sooner rather than later. And after that, probably the next one I'll be doing after that will probably end up being the 10th of February or the 11th of February. So if you want to get in soon, I'd recommend trying to get in, joining this community and trying to get in your spot on the 28th, this next mock group exercise. So it's going to be first link in the description.